Corrupt, convicted, and costly. The former sheriff deputies who betrayed their badges will take their bounties behind bars.
You are entitled to your money because, like you put in your money, it's like a savings.
Hidalgo County Treasurer Norma Garcia says those deputies will draw a pension that includes their money plus a whole lot of taxpayer money. We checked personnel records and did the math. Jorge Garza tucked away at least $42,000 into his pension plan. JP Flores saved more than $40,000. The county will match each dollar 2 to 1. That means these corrupt cops combined will be paid more than $250,000 over the course of their retirements, even while they're serving their federal sentences. And don't forget about their old boss. Former Sheriff Lupe Trevino, fresh off pleading guilty to money laundering charges, can soon start drawing from a pension worth $858,000.
There is no state provision that allows for a reduction in anyone's pension.
23 states have some sort of law in the books that allow for public pensions to be revoked if a public employee or elected official is convicted of corruption. Texas is not one of those states.
So I will be filing the bill yet again, and hopefully with more attention and support.
State Representative Van Taylor introduced 2 bills that would keep corrupt public employees from drawing their pensions. Neither bill was voted on.
It's been frustrating to me to see how difficult something this obvious is to do.
Frustrating and expensive. These are the costs of corruption. Intimidation, bullying, an officer accused of placing other officers' lives in danger. This internal memo obtained by Channel 5 News was sent by a Weslaco police officer in February of 2013. It cites specific cases, including one where a supervising officer was accused of allowing an intoxicated woman to drive away with her 2 children in the car. That accused officer will soon be Weslaco's interim police chief.
I'm Sergio Ramirez. I've been here for 21 years.
We sat down with Corporal Sergio Ramirez after he was chosen to replace retiring Chief Mike Kelly. According to state records, Ramirez has 23 years of experience as a police officer in the Valley.
Been a patrol officer. I started as a patrol officer.
Corporal Ramirez was handpicked for the job instead of higher-ranking sergeants, lieutenants, and captains.
I understand that there is some controversy about it because typically you start with the top brass.
City Manager Leo Olivares believes Ramirez will help the department provide the best service to the community. Olivares refused to comment on the formal complaint obtained by Channel 5 News.
I really don't care to see what you have there. The reason being is that I'm not sure how you got it. If it's an internal document, it should have remained an internal document.
We went back to the police department for another interview. This time, we brought the complaint.
And both chief declined.
Retiring Chief Mike Kelly did speak to us off camera. He's the one that received this formal complaint last year. But Kelly says he cannot comment on internal investigations or personnel matters.
At the end of the day, it's my decision to make.
Weslaco City Manager says he reviewed all of the files before making that decision. You can see the problems at the Cuevas Apartments in Alamo from the street. We wanted to see the problems from the tenants' doorsteps. Few wanted to talk. Do you guys have any problems here with maintenance or anything like that?
No, just like
no.
Go to a different house.
They don't want to fix nothing, but I don't want that to be recorded.
Everything's so cool.
Okay.
It's nice to live here.
John Galvan says this is the best apartment he can afford. $300 a month covers the rent and utilities. No contracts, no checks.
It's cheap, yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
You guys pay cash every month?
Yeah, when we can, yes.
Galvan doesn't know why the city wants to tear down the homes for dozens of families. Here's why. We checked code enforcement violations at these apartments. The file is full. The company that owns Cuevas Apartments, HOC Properties Incorporated, was cited in 2011 and 2012 for not fixing the problems. Problems like fire hazards, exposed electrical wires, broken windows, sagging roofs, unstable floors and stairs, and open pipes that made the entire complex smell like sewage.
It's a ticking time bomb.
Jaime Sandoval is the Community Planning and Development Director in Alamo. He says some of the problems at Cuevas date back 20 years.
We're dealing with people's lives, and you have a lot of different code violations from plumbing, electrical, unhealthy, unsanitary conditions.
We learned HOC Properties Incorporated owns more than 24 properties all over Hidalgo County. This two-story house in Pharr is actually the HOC Property Incorporated headquarters, according to property records. Wouldn't really tell by looking at it, though. You definitely won't find a company sign hanging out front. We tried to talk to the owner of the company. He agreed to an interview, but then canceled.
Can you go ahead and talk to my attorney first?
So we sent our Channel 5 News employee undercover. He was shown one of the properties for rent in McAllen. The rental agreement sounds a lot like the deal at Cuevas. No contract, no checks, and similar problems.
Pretty bad.
Betty Lopez says her apartment smells like gas. She claims the landlord never fixes the problems here either.
He just says, I'll come back later, but later never comes.
Some neighbors at Cuevas shared similar concerns, but nobody would go on camera. We didn't get to spend a lot of time asking questions, though.
Let me tell you to leave, or you will be trespassing.
A property manager kicked us out, but not before explaining that these apartments are a good deal.
There's not too many places that rent your place for $300 a month, no bills.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, there's also when the city says it's not safe or healthy to live there, that's a concern too.
Well, it's all how people treat their apartments.
So we took our camera back to the street, where we can still see the problems at the Cuevas apartments. Joe Augustine, Channel 5 News at 10:30. Cops know how to move fast. They top 100 miles an hour chasing smugglers all over the valley. But when you start asking questions, some start moving a little slower.
Hi, Chief. How you doing? Good. Joe with Channel 5. I left you a couple messages.
This is La Feria's police chief. He never responded to our public information request for his department's pursuit policy. We weren't picking on La Feria. We asked every law enforcement agency in the valley for its policy last month after a high-speed chase ended in a deadly wreck north of Palmview.
I never got it.
After we confronted the police chief about our public information request, we walked over to City Hall. The city secretary not only admitted that the police department received our request, she apologized that the city did not respond. Most departments, including DPS, follow a similar set of guidelines. Some departments, though, did not want to release any information at all. Pharr and Edinburgh are asking the Attorney General to decide which policies must be turned over. Even though those departments didn't technically answer our question, they did respond to our request. La Feria did not. That's why we went and asked the police chief in person.
The city does not have a pursuit policy.
His department is one of the few without any guidelines, but his officers are still allowed to chase at high speeds.